Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if this is the first video of mine you've ever watched, then welcome to my channel. As the title suggests, this video is a review of the new L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow 24-Hour Liquid Foundation. So this is a sister product to the Pro Matte that came out, I'm not really sure, maybe 6 months or a year ago. That particular foundation was geared more towards your oily skin people like myself. So again, if this is your first video of mine that you're watching, I am an oily to very oily skin. And just so you know, some of my other favorites are Estee Lauder Double Wear, as well as MAC Studio Fix Fluid. Those are my holy grails, those are my go-to. So I was very excited when the Pro Matte came out. I need a long wear. I need something that's gonna keep me from being greasy, because a lot of times when I branch out and I try any foundation that has the word glow in it or isn't specifically made for an oily skin, I usually regret it. I usually find that it leaves me overly shiny and with the feeling that I've described in many other videos of kind of being greasy, where your skin just feels uncomfortable. There's a difference between feeling like glowy and greasy. Now, there have been other foundations that I've reviewed where I am constantly saying that I feel like I sprayed a thing of Pam on my face. Just can fry an egg on the grease on my face. I'm sorry, that's kind of gross. But anyway, so when this one came out, of course I was hesitant, because every time I've tried something that is glowy, I've been disappointed and I've been regretful, and it's almost like, what are you doing? There's no reason to try anything geared more toward a dry skin. Now that said, I also have more mature skin. So the trouble with a lot of longer wearing foundations and the ones made for an oily skin is that they can tend to look a little bit more foundation-y, which is not really what a lot of us want. We want to look as natural as possible, don't we? And that's sometimes very hard to achieve, because on the one hand you want a flawless look, and then on the other hand you don't want to look like you're wearing makeup. So I think that a lot of you out there can agree with me when I say that we want everything. We want the perfect liquid foundation. We want that. We want our skin to look amazing and still look somewhat natural. So after looking around online, watching some other videos, I did notice that a couple people that have combination skin, not necessarily oily, but with combo skin, said that they felt like it could work for an oily skin, and therefore a light bulb went off in my head and I thought, ooh, maybe I will try it. You know, a true makeup junkie, we just have that urge, and even if somebody says, no, don't do it, as soon as we get like a little green light, we're like, we're getting it. So being that they said it might be okay for someone with oily skin, that's all the excuse I needed to go pick it up from the drugstore and try it. And then obviously I know there's so many of you out there that are probably like me that are interested in it, but you do have a more oily skin and you're just really hesitant because you've kind of been burned by glowy foundations before. Not necessarily burned, but disappointed by glowy foundation. Even though it's going against what you would think you would want with an oily skin, which is a matte, a lot of us just feel like we want to try different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I picked it up at Walgreens. They should be easy to find now. I know within the last couple weeks they've been trickling into drugstores around where I live, and then I did see them in Target recently as well, and in Ulta. So they retail anywhere from $12.99 to I think $14 or $15.99. And it comes in a squeeze tube, which I like. It is 1 ounce, which is typical of most liquid foundations. The claims are that it is a radiant finish, that it wears up to 24 hours, it has medium coverage, and is an air-light texture. Okay, I will agree with all of those things. And I have based my assessment on wearing this foundation 3 different days. So day 1, I did use a primer. I used my Hourglass Veil Primer, because even though it claims to be a 24-hour wear, I just had a feeling that anything glowy, just from past experience, that I could possibly get too shiny or get that greasy feeling, and it's basically what I was expecting. I was expecting to really not like this foundation. So let me show you the actual color I got. It's number 208, which is Sun Beige. I had looked at some swatches online. It's a runny foundation. It'll like run down your hand. This color, what I love about it is it's very neutral. It's not too much pink, not too much yellow. And I would say this would suit an NC 35, NC 37 in MAC. Perhaps not an NC 40, that'd be a little light for you, but I love this color. I have a little bit of a tan, even though I wear SPF all the time. I do still get a little color, being that I live somewhere where it's sunny, you know, most of the time. So it's definitely a radiant finish. I put it on with a beauty blender, which is my preferred method of applying all of my foundations, and I just stipple it into my skin, and the coverage was great. It was a true medium coverage, almost medium to full, because again, I used a damp beauty blender, which tends to shear foundations out a little bit and also reduce the coverage somewhat sometimes. So it did cover my marks from old breakouts, and it did not emphasize pores. It just went on very beautifully, and it indeed was radiant. But what I loved about it when I checked in a few hours later is that it still looked glowy and perfect, but it didn't make me feel greasy, which was very, very surprising, because so many glowy foundations make me feel that way. So a couple hours after that was probably maybe after 3 or 4 hours, I looked in the mirror and everything looked good. By hour 6, 7, I did notice that I was losing it through my T-zone. It was kind of disappearing around my nose, but the rest of the face looked good. It looked glowy, but not overly so. And I felt like, you know, I could possibly live, maybe with this, maybe I'll put a little bit more on my nose, or overall, very pleasantly surprised. So day 2, I decided I was gonna try it without a primer. And that did not go so well. As expected, that did not go so well. It went on beautifully, of course, but the wear time and the amount of glow that I had was not something that I'm comfortable with. It did break up a lot sooner. It didn't make me feel, you know, uncomfortable or anything as far as the feel on my skin, but I did feel like I was overly shiny, a little bit too glowy, and I just said to myself, nope, definitely need to use a primer with this. So then I decided that on day 3, I was gonna do what I do with a lot of foundations, which is mix it in with something else. So being that I have almost nothing left in my Estee Lauder Double Wear, I decided to use my Studio Fix fluid, because I really have none of my Double Wear left. I put a pump of my, not even a pump, just like a little bit of my Studio Fix fluid. And then, because this, like I said earlier, is a little bit runny, more of that came out. So I would definitely say it was 75% this, 25% Double Wear. But the combination went on so amazing. It's actually what I have on now, and I've had it on for a couple hours. And I actually did this combo yesterday as well. And I think even the day before, I've been mixing it. So I am really, really loving this combo, and I actually think that mixed in with the little Double Wear would be even better, because that way you're still getting some of the glow from this, but also some of the more matte finish, so it's not quite as much of a glow. So the bottom line is, if you're oily, can you use this foundation? Yes, you can, but you have to be willing to do those extra steps to make it work, and then I think you'll be very, very pleasantly surprised, like I am. So if you're not somebody who's gonna wanna use a primer, or maybe not do any type of mixing, then I would not recommend this if you're oily. If you're dry, definitely give it a try. Definitely a product that I would recommend to you. But for those of us who are more combo or oily, I recommend maybe just using a primer, or doing what I've done, which is mix it in with a more matte finish foundation, and I am thrilled with the result. The color is fantastic. I'm not sure about the whole color range, but I think overall L'Oreal has a pretty decent shade range. So being that these are squeeze tubes, it's super easy to just mix up some shades if you have a little palette, or even on the back of your hand, which is where I do it. I'm going to assume, even though I didn't try it this way, with a flat top kabuki brush, any type of foundation brush, that you will get even more coverage, but it is a true medium coverage, radiant finish. Now, as for the 24-hour claim, I have no idea. I have never and will never wear a foundation for 24 hours or expect it to hold up for 24 hours, but I do expect a good 8 hours, and I am thrilled if I can get a 12-hour wear where it's still looking perfect. So I would definitely say that if you have an 8-hour work day, you will have no problems with this holding up on you. It is really, really nice. So that is all for this review of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel and aren't already subscribed, please do. And I also love to hear from everybody in the comments. So please let me know what you think of this foundation, if you've tried it or if you're going to try it, or what some of your favorite foundations are. I love to talk makeup and beauty with anyone and everyone. So that's it. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next video.